the actual like good-hearted people, they're seen as bad. So like your guys like Wiley, Chip, even like someone like Skepta, even though he's big.
I'm putting
like,
a disclaimer here. We do not endorse what Wiley said.
So
yeah,
we're talking musically.
We're talking.
We need to say that.
Yeah, we're talking strictly musically.
Yeah, don't get me cancelled, Denzel, please.
Yeah, no,
please, I beg you.
All of them, man, yeah, they're kind of hated in some way, but they're probably the man them on the low that are like giving everyone game and telling everyone, nah, like do it this way and you'll cut through.
Yeah.
Whereas like the guys that look quote unquote good, they're probably doing low down stuff on the like Derek Jackson film. Exactly.
Yeah, or often just not even supporting up and coming artists in the same way. Like if you think about the mentoring that Wiley's been given, like to people who, it's almost as if he doesn't realize how big he is. The way that he interacts with other musicians, because it seems like he really gives them genuine. Which is why so many people have his like the time of day for him and always will, because he genuinely does care about the community. He genuinely does care about the industry, and he genuinely does care about the next generation. So,
do you think though that with him being cancelled has kind of humbled him though?
No, I think he's always been the same, in my opinion. And this isn't to say that I endorse what he said, because I actually had to have a long conversation with one of my best friends who's Jewish. She's been on Birthright. She lived in Israel for a long time. And she's always been such a massive ally to me. And I was like, okay, like, how do you feel about this? Because I didn't feel like it was my right, because I was quite biased initially, because I felt like I understood what he was saying. However, when I got it from her perspective, and she was just like, you know, people look at the Jewish elite as like this big, broad umbrella, when realistically there's so many individuals who are Jewish who have nothing to do with all these conspiracy theories, have nothing to do with, they're just normal, everyday people, the same way. You know, not every Muslim is part of ISIS, or not every is Muslim, or not every Christian was part of the IRA. You know, I think it's very easy to group people together under such broad labels like Jewish, Black, this, that, and the other. And unfortunately, we have to be really specific in what we're saying these days. And I think that's where he went wrong in that. I think it seemed like it was more emotive than logical.
Yeah, no, to be fair, what he did was like what a lot of people do to black people, and that's why I was exactly the same. I was like, oh yeah, what he's saying that's true. Of course that's true. But then when you actually step back and then look and go, you know what, like he's making a generalization on a group of people, so he's actually been he's been prejudiced towards them. He's been racist in that sense. And I think where we maybe want as black people to kind of want white people to understand where we come from, we need to do the same thing ourselves. So if we hear something about another group of people, let's take that time to, you know, go and ask someone like you did, Jess. You went Switzerland, was Jewish, sat there, open your ears, listened, and then we all learn and grow and get better. I don't think Wiley is anti-Semitic at all.
I don't think he is either. I think he's had real experiences with real people from certain backgrounds, and that's influenced his opinion. And then there's also the big conversation of, you know, when you've had so much, he's gone through a lot. And that leads on to, you know, there's so much trauma and PTSD anyway in the ends, let alone being from the ends and having all this stuff play out in front of millions of people. You know, I'm sure he got stabbed just before he's wearing my Rolex video. So it's like,
you got stabbed like 14 times in like 2 weeks.
Do you know what I mean? And that was in the face, and that as a public figure. So I think we also have to understand the amount of trauma he's probably been through just as a black person, let alone the lifestyle that a lot of people live. And it's in a lot of lyrics, do you know what I mean? It's not like he's hidden it.
But then again, that's a lot of black trauma in general. Like, black people go through a lot of things, but because we're black and people don't think it's a direct attack, it's not trauma. You know, like for example, you know, I don't know if it's just me, but black people, I get a bit funny if I see Fed, you know what I'm saying? If I'm walking down the street, I see a bully van. I know I'm not doing nothing wrong, but just because of everything I've seen in America and the UK, I'm scared. I'm like, okay, cool. They could just literally fuck up my day today. And those are all the little things that I think black people go through that you don't even realize. So Wiley probably went through the same thing, but, you know, I just think he voiced those concerns a bit, not really the best way, in my opinion.
I agree. I just think there are better ways to say things. And like I said, I think because we are under such scrutiny as a community, we have to be so specific and careful with what we're saying and how we're saying it and who we're saying it to.
My only issue is, though, I'll probably say about the situation, is the fact that he got cancelled so effectively.
Yeah, I didn't like that.
And I'll be honest, the only reason I was like, I don't mind him getting cancelled because it's the right thing to do in that sense. But if you're not gonna maintain that across the board, then it's wrong. Like,
but
Katie
that's my
Hopkins,
thing.
yeah.
Maintaining it, because Katie Hopkins, it took her how many vile things for her to
Yeah.
say before she got banned. Same
Piers
with
Morgan,
he's still on it, Trump,
Trump.
and I feel like that Wiley even apologized. He even took himself out of his comfort zone, went on to the news and apologized. Maybe it wasn't the apology that certain people wanted, but and maybe he still needed to learn a bit more. But I feel like his intention seemed like he wanted to learn and to do better.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was trying to be prejudiced. It wasn't trying to be prejudiced. He happened
It was ignorance.
to be. It was more ignorance, yeah.
That is the crazy thing, though, because if you think about it, people like Katie Hopkins, Trump, like a lot of the far right people you get on Twitter, they will never ever apologize for anything they ever say, because they know that coming from a place of privilege, they can just get away with it. They can say whatever they want, do whatever they want, and then the minute he makes maybe like an uneducated statement, says something silly, it's like the media's just turned all against him, and that's it. He's done. Like, it's crazy. It really is crazy.
It's frustrating. But
it's frustrating because we're all cooped up at home, and during Corona and this whole pandemic, like unconscious bias is becoming like so much more at the forefront of like topical conversation, and we're all stuck at home. Some of us on our own watching all these images, and not even just as Black people, but the increase of Asian like hate and the increase of all these different sites of discrimination. Even like, I don't know, there's like a YouTuber called James Charles who's been a predator on like 16-year-olds, and it's like all this stuff is happening, and it just feels like a really toxic place at the moment. And we're still locked in swords. We don't have each other to actually lean on and to like. But so then it's again, crazy at the minute.
But then again, even cause I even told the man, I took a break off socials for a hot sec. I was like, you know what, I need, just for my own sanity, just to kind of live again, if that makes sense. Because we live on social media with everything going on, and if every time you open it, I remember there was a period where every time I opened Twitter, a Black person was getting killed by the police in America.
Yeah,
every single time.
I remember that.
And you're watching that. I remember there's times where my mum, like, I had to tell her to stop. She'll be watching these things because obviously she's feeling it. She'll be watching it again and again and again and again. And you don't think it's doing anything to you, but that's trauma that you're reliving, especially as a Black person. You're reliving this trauma again and again and again. And then unconsciously, you know what I mean, it is damaging you. And it is something that we all have to kind of go through just due to the way the world is at the moment, which is a bit
and then if we look at the fact that the majority of people in this country who are of color would come under working class bracket, and then therapy and mental health has always seemed to be a middle class privilege, and I feel like there's so many people from working class environments that, and I say working class is a broad statement because I think this translates over like race, age, gender. We just look at mental health and therapy as such as like a taboo. Like we can't talk about it, we can't open up, we can't be sensitive, boys aren't allowed to cry, and it creates this really extra toxic environment because the people at the top are more elite people, middle class people, are going through exactly the same traumas in different degrees, but they're speaking to somebody about it, and they've got therapists that they pay top dollar for when the smallest little thing happens. So I think we need to, as a community and working class community, just make sure we continue to get on the stigma of like mental health. And I think especially over COVID, I think a lot of people are starting to realize what that means now, and the importance of it.
No,
definitely.
We've definitely
to even take a step forward, like obviously in the African community as well, it's seen as like, you're going through like some spiritual evil demons and all of that. Yeah, but I think that's another thing we need to dispel as well, because that can also confuse the thing. Like, obviously, like I'm both in it. I am spiritual to a sense. I say, yeah, pray, whatever, but definitely go to talk to someone, because like even the man them know, in it, like I obviously went through some madness last year, and like I even went to talk to someone, and I think it's like it definitely benefited me. I could see the difference.
To be fair though, even
finger in it.
But even with that, like I see mental health, like I see the brain as a muscle, like the rest of your body. Like everybody goes through mental health issues, whether you like it or not. And like same way, the issue is like if I break my ankle tomorrow, yeah, everybody will understand it. They'll be like, cool, you broke your ankle. But if I'm saying I'm going through, I'm depressed at the minute, people, they don't really have that same kind of like caring attitude. Like even similar to Denzel, I've gone through bouts of anxiety, bouts of depression, just when I was at uni, and like feeling like you couldn't talk to nobody because no one could understand, that's the killer. I think that's
I
the
think
thing
even with some of your closest friends, they might find out you've had depression a year after you've had it.
Yeah, like my man, I told them like a good, like 6-7 months afterwards. I was like, this is what was going on. They were like, we didn't even know. And I think like for everybody, like only one thing I would plead to everyone is like just checking on people. And it might sound stupid, it might sound fucking dumb, but just call people randomly that you're close with and just be like, look, how are you? How are you getting on? You all right? And even if they don't want to talk to you, just knowing that somebody is thinking about you means the world. Like if someone's going through some stuff, just send them a text. They might not be in a space to get back to you, but it just shows that maybe, that someone is there for you. And like that's one thing that definitely helped me. And I always try to like instill that to other people. Yeah. So.
And I would say always ask people twice. Like when you say how are you, usually the first answer is usually I'm all right. If you ask them twice, that's when you start to realize what's going on.
Yeah.
Always ask twice.
Then again,
say, how are you really?
But then again,
exactly.
But then again, how many of us though, if someone came up to you like, "Oh, how are you doing?" and they're like, "Well, to be honest," and they start breaking down and everything, how are you gonna handle that situation? You probably be like,
I've been doing it recently, to be honest.
Okay.
Somebody texted me like out of the blue, was like, "Jess, how are you doing?" I was like, ended up in hospital from a mental breakdown, but other than that, I'm all good.
And they'll probably be like,
I think it's just about normalizing it. Like, I went to hospital. It is what it is. I'm okay. Day to day, I'm usually fine, but things are on top of me at the moment. And I just think we need to normalize that. Like, I feel like, especially in London, I think in London, we have a problem with our emotions. You see them, or in England, in America, everyone's like, oh my gosh, man, like, I'm so down. Like, I love you. Like, we're just stiff upper lip. No one talks to them about nothing. And I think we just need to we can complain about the weather. Let's complain about our days. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not hard.
No, but it's difficult though. Just I think, especially being cooped up in your house for the last, 2 years. Like, luckily, I was living at home. I've moved out, but I've always had people around me. Some people are doing this all by themselves, and it's kind of.
I think a good step sometimes is to write things down. Like, even if it's not what you're feeling, like sometimes it's just like la di da di da, and you're literally just writing on the paper. And then sometimes you just might write a swear word, or you just might write bad day. But I think there's something about the release of thoughts in any form, whether it's verbal or written, is helpful. Which is why also like with musicians, some of the best musicians are the music that hits you the hardest. When they speak to you, they're not great at speaking. This is like, yeah, you're right. Or they're really nervous, but when you listen to them on the beat, it's like, is that you?
Different people.
Different people.
Yeah, no, that kind of like, obviously, like, we had a big loss in the industry, innit, DMX, and I think he's definitely one of them people that, when like he went through bare madnesses, like I was able to read up on his story, like how it wasn't even him that put himself on like the drugs, it was an accident, and like it just shows you like people go through a lot, and obviously he made a lot of money and like attained fame, but he still had the demons in it. So it's just a sad case. Like,
and for his family to lose him in such a tragic, like it's sudden. I feel like whenever something happens that's so sudden, it's even harder sometimes to comprehend, because you weren't expecting it.
No, even like for me personally, I want to say I don't care about when artists pass. Like, I want to say that, but I'm someone that's very much like, it kind of is what it is. But this one proper touched me, because I think for DMX, I think we can all relate to him, man. The guy was a tortured soul. All he wanted to do was make music, and everyone just wanted to get their piece of the pie. Everyone wanted to kind of exploit him, and it's just kind of very, very sad. Man.
Well, we actually did. The mad thing is, we grew up as part of that generation that we were in school. It was like playing on. I don't even know if it was playing on radio, but like I know that my dad was playing his music. Like
Walkmans, mate. Walkmans.
When you shared the songs on the Walkmans, you had to put your Bluetooth together.
Come on.
Infrared flex.
I can't lie though. Like I think the clip that made me like so emotional is, I don't know if you saw it, but when like the Rough Riders motorcycle crew like pulled up outside the hostel, like playing his music and stuff, I was like, fuck, like
I just got goosebumps.
Nah, man, no,
Yeah.
no, it's sad, man, because for me personally, he's a genius. Like, he's one of the greatest rappers of all time. Like, he birthed so many of the rappers that we have now. In my opinion, like, even something to like UK drill, we wouldn't have that without
even
DMX.
the energy that Backroad G comes with, that's
all DMX, man.
Yeah,
DMX.
DMX.
And the thing with DMX was like, he had like these days you've either got personality, like energy, or you got bars, or you got a good voice. But DMX had everything.
He had so much personality.
He could rap, he could sing, personality, but he used to do all the shit off the top of his head, for fuck's sake. Just go in the booth, smoke a zoot, fucking do whatever the fuck he was doing, and then lay where the hood
crazy.
At. Rough Riders.
I feel like he crossed so many barriers as well. Like you were saying about the Rough Riders, I feel like it wasn't just us, our communities, or our little black communities, or our little, M&Ms like that who transformed by him. Like, it was people across the board and across the world. And I think there's not many individuals in this world who, when they pass, they leave such an empty space. And I think he's definitely one of those people.
R.I.P. man. Fuck, that touched me still.
Yeah. I feel like pouring out some liquor or something.
Yeah, man, I'm pouring up for that, bruv. Because R.I.P. Prince.
I'll have a quick. Am I allowed to take a shot on camera?
No. Come on, it's YouTube. Of course, man.
Of course you can. Yeah.
Yeah, we're all sipping. Disclaimer: we're all sipping. So
we're all sipping. But I think like we've probably touched on it. I'll probably say, like, I hope R.I.P. I hope that him and his family, can find peace. And they can get through it as tough as possible. Especially someone dying that's in the public limelight. It can definitely get very, very on top for you. People trying to get the story kind of, because think about it, people were saying that he was dead for the last 3 days. Like, it was proper morbid. I didn't like that. But,
I mean, working in the TV industry, I can understand that dynamic, and it is really hard because it's the balance of wanting to tell a story but be respectful. And I think, like any industry, unfortunately, you have people who aren't respectful in the way that they approach people, and they forget that these are lives and not just an amazing story. Like, with each of these individuals, which is something is always in the front of my mind whenever you're working with somebody, is that when you leave them, they've still got to live the rest of their life. So when you're done giving them, or following their lives, you're done. So I think that's why it's so important for people to have empathy and sympathy and remember what they're making.
Definitely.
No, definitely.
It's like when Kobe died and they released the photos, that kind of stuff.
No. A lot of these guys are just chasing a story, and they literally forget about empathy. Respect,
I'm not even going to give those people the benefit of the doubt. They know what they're doing. They're just choosing to do it. They don't forget, man. They know what they're doing. If it was their parent, bro, they're not gonna and someone release photos of their parent passing away. You know what I mean? They people in life, people know what's right and what's wrong.
They know.
I will say, once you're conditioned to do something, so like, for example, if you grow up in the ends and you see certain things every single day, it doesn't become as shocking to you. You normalize it. So I think, unfortunately, and this is what I've seen, is that people who've been in the industry 20, 30 years, it's like they turn a part of themselves off in order to get the job done.
Yeah. No, to be fair, it's the same. Sorry, what were you saying?
That was the point. Yeah.
No, but even, bruv, I used to work in sales, so it's the same thing. Like, you switch yourself off. These are not people; these are numbers to you. So you don't condition yourself. But I think that's where as people we need to do better.
Like, we do.
Like DMX, I'm not gonna lie, he probably didn't enjoy his life as much. Probably didn't enjoy the way things were going, and I think we all should bear a brunt of that. We all complicit to it. But I just hope that he's found peace now. And like I said, his family and that are okay. But yeah, R.I.P.
I agree. I think hopefully this pandemic is teaching us all we need to do better.
If not, I'm punching people in the face. You heard it here first. You piss me off, I'm punching your face. You touch girls in the nightclub. You get them in the face,
I'll get the throat.
Good. See, you heard it here first. So you're touching girls in the club, get a box in the face. Touching girls in the club, get a box in the throat. You're touching children, you get punched in the face. So just know that any abuse is not going.
Remember.
Exactly.
But yeah. I don't know. I feel like this one's a deep one. Obviously, this week as well, there was a passing of Richard, which touched me as well. And like, with that one, I kind of even had to back off from social media, and I tweeted it out because I've been thinking this for a while, innit? But to me, it seems that a lot of the media, they know that black trauma will get clicks, it will get retweets, it will push their thing forward. And I feel like personally they use that, and like that's where we've got to be careful, because we've already spoken on the mental health, and I think if you see too much of that, it's too much for anyone. Like it's deep.
I think we need to remember to definitely take a break. I think that's an important point to make, and I definitely feel like we are getting it's like, because being black is popular at the moment, we're oversaturated with everything black, good and bad, and especially when it comes to the bad, there's so much happening every day that you have to make sure you're protecting your mental health and taking a break.
Definitely. Like even as black people, you probably all face it. We have this unspoken responsibility of explaining racism to white people. Like, we have to explain these things, and you know, why should that even be our burden? Do you know what I mean? Like, some people just want to live their life, but they're not able to do so. So it's like we really need to.
Yeah.
Sorry?
I was going to say, before I don't want to divert too much away from Richard, because obviously we need to talk about, he's super important. But I just feel like something that I've been really frustrated about, and this might be a little bit what's the word?
Controversial.
I lost the word. Controversial, but like, especially being as a mixed race person, until I started working in TV, I never had to explain racism to anybody. I was never seen as the black person to anybody. It was only when I started being around a majority of white environment that all of a sudden I was the black girl, and people asking me, "Oh, so what's it like being black?" And if I said, "Oh, I'm not black, I'm mixed," "Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to offend you," and I was like, "Well, I'm not trying. You're not offending me, but I just don't feel like I haven't been in the same journey as black girls, and black girls have it harder than me. And I would be a liar if I said that they didn't. And when I was younger, I didn't understand that, and I took a lot of interactions I had as like they just didn't like me or whatever. But then when you go back to, again, generational trauma, and you go back to understanding what it means to be a black person, you realize the levels that come within it, and you realize that even within our community, we have to accept our own privileges. So a black person who's grown up in a private school is not the same as a black person who's grown up in ends. It's not the same as somebody who's slightly light skinned. It's not the same as somebody who's dark skinned but with like really like Western features and long curly hair. And I think it's remembering our own privileges in order to help other people to understand their privileges. So go back to Richard.
But yeah.
I think if his mum was a light-skinned mixed race woman, this is the thing. I think if his mum was a beautiful light-skinned mixed race woman, the police would not have said what they said to her.
Nah, if she was a white woman, they would have not said nothing. They would have literally sent the fucking dogs and everything to find him.
They would have said.
If he was a white boy, this is what pisses me off about it. If he was a white boy, and I realized the other day, I'm so used to them not even searching black people going missing. I'm so used to it that when they were searching for Sarah Everard, I was like, whoa, fucking no, like what the hell? Like, I'm so.
There were vigils.
They don't care. Like, some of the things they say, they literally don't care. They don't care about black people. And like, this might be for some people, they might take it the wrong way and be like, I'm not calling white people racist. No, I am saying the police do not care about black people, and that's the truth. And that's the fucking truth. Because
unfortunately, the police was created on a racist system.
Yep. And
but imagine though, like, but this is the thing, like, even like Jessicah, with your example as well, like, if a white guy is like singling you out and going, "What's it like to be black?" That in itself is wrong. You shouldn't be put on the spot like that. And this is the thing, like, all the problems start with the way the system is built. Our government, I don't want to go into like a political rant right now, because
we've already gone, bro. This is deep,
bro. I fucking oh my god, I fucking hate this government, right? I can't believe, right, they would do a non-independent report on racism, base their race. They did like some sort of analysis into like how employers like choose like different backgrounds and all this. They based it on The Apprentice, bro. They went to The Apprentice and they went, "Oh, it's a very even lineup every show."
Bro,
this is the thing. Then the police have a review and they go, "Racism? Never heard of it."
The thing is, yeah, like, the racism that black people are talking about, especially in this country, is not. Let me break it down to you. So, you, white person, look at me, look at you. We're not talking about you
I'm looking
abusing. Not you, Marco. You're good. But we're not talking about.
You're one of us. One of us.
We're not talking about. We're not talking about. I walk down the street and then I'm getting racial abuse thrown at me and assaulted. One, it's not gonna fucking happen. No one's gonna do that. Yeah. The issue we're talking about is the institutional racism from the fucking bottom up. For example, myself, I work in the city. Yeah, I work in insurance. I do not go by my government name just because my government name is very, very African. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to give it on here, but it's very, very strong African. You know what I'm saying? That to the fault you won't, if you can't pronounce it. So I go by a English name. That English name is not on any of my documents, but it's a name that I have decided, you know what? My parents decided, yeah, we're going to use this to assimilate into the culture. So, like, I'll give you an example. The previous place I was working at, I was talking to the director. I've told him, I was like, yeah, you know, that's not my actual name, right? And he goes, what? Wow, what? I'm like, yeah, my actual name is this. He then says to me, oh, so why did you go by that name then? I said, because you would have never given me the job if I told you my name was my name. And he stood there and looked at me and could not deny it. He could not deny it. And that, yeah, for me, just shows, like I said, you know what the problem is. You're choosing to ignore it. You know what the problem is. Because if
See, for me, it was like my first ever job in TV when I was a runner. I remember like 3 months into it, this white lady came up to me and was like, Jess, you know, when you started, I thought you was really stuck up and obnoxious. And like now I realize you're really, really nice.
Did they say aggressive as well?
Not aggressive, just stuck up and obnoxious. But the thing is, she couldn't have said aggressive because I was always making teas for everybody to the point where I remembered the colors of each person's tea. Like I would sweat from the amount I was running around. I did their whole kit covered over. There was nothing about me that would come across as obnoxious. I did the grittiest, dirtiest. I cleaned out a sewer once.
But Jess, do you find that you're having to do more as a mixed race woman? Sorry, as a mixed race to just to be accepted as everyone else. Do you know what I mean? Like
100%. I played into it a lot at the beginning as well because which is why now I'm so unapologetically myself, because at the very beginning of my career, I would play on it. Like before a white guy could compare his color to me and be like, look, I'm darker than you, I would do it because I was like, well, I'm going to get there first. Or like, you know, before they could laugh at my name, I'd make sure they knew what my full name was, because it's like everyone found it hilarious that my name was Jessicah North, but in the middle it was like Omalara Olubuka Lokmani. It's like they would be, so I would play into it, and it wasn't until I started speaking to be quite honest, women of color, like black women, and understanding their experiences and what I perhaps was getting away with that they would never have gotten away with. Like even in like I could be a bit ruder, I could be a bit more sassy, I could get away with certain things. So, but then equally, I was told I was one of the best in every company. You're one of the best we've ever had, but I wouldn't get the next jobs. Or like I remember the runners that were before me at my first company ran for 9 months and both straight went on to researcher jobs. I ran and they offered me a runner job. Yeah. And then I had to fight to get up credited because I realized it wasn't a runner's job they gave me. Yeah. Every point of my industry has been like a fight. It's so frustrating.
And like that's what black people go through. Like, do you know what I mean? Like we have to double our work just to get halfway there. And like my mom used to tell me when I was growing up, and I used to be like, "Yo, man, like you're trying shit, like you're gassing, bro. I go into the world of work, like, like I have to make sure my shit is patterned 100%. If not, I'm getting pulled up on it. You know what I mean? Like
but even like medical things, if you think about how many young black men have dropped down dead from a heart attack and we still don't know why.
Or black women fucking dying from fucking childbirth. What the fuck, bro? We have black. Oh, I'm going off. We have black women dying. What the fuck? And they don't. Because the idea is that black people have a higher pain threshold. What the fuck, bro? We monkeys or something, bro? Like,
I was literally told by another guy I was working with. I did the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, and one of the white guys was like, "Oh yeah, the reason you don't see many black swimmers is because their bones are heavier." And I was like, "Who told you that? Like, what does that mean?" And he literally was arguing with me about how like black people's bones are heavier, and I was like, "But I can swim. My mom can swim. Like, what are you saying?" And he was so convinced, and I have no idea where he read it, but he was like, "No, it's a fact. It's proven." I was just like, "Who? What?"
Yeah, no, that's crazy. Still, that's crazy. But yeah, no, that's kind of why I wanted to get you on and speak about this, because yeah, definitely, even I've seen it in my own experiences. Yeah, where it's like I have to go like triple, quadruple harder to get the same accolades, and it's like, yeah, like it's all good doing that, but there's a point where you burn out, innit? So there's got to be some way to level the playing field, to be honest.
But that's it. It's the burnout and then the lack of psychological help again. Because, like I said, I know a lot of my white colleagues have been in therapy or are in therapy, or it's just common. It's just like where my family's paid for it. Like they've got the money, they can do that. Where a lot of us don't come from places where we have that money, like 20 quid a session for 6 months. Do you know what I mean? Who has that money?
Yeah.
It's not even 20 quid a session. It's usually like 60 quid a session.
Bloody pricey. But it's tough. It's tough though. But like, especially like you're being constantly beaten down each day, very, very minimally with social media. Like you're seeing, like for example, if do you know when you see something that's overtly like Piers Morgan, for example, his treatment of Meghan Markle. What gets me, I don't care what Piers Morgan has to say. I don't care. What gets me is the fact that people actually agree with him.
Yeah.
Like people don't get it. They're like, oh, well, of course. Like, why is she's so this, she's so that. People are saying to me, like, at my place of work, my previous place of work, that she's like, they feel like she's aggressive and that. And I said to them, why? No, they tell me why. They're like, oh, like she just comes across like that. And I was like, okay, why? Tell me why. Like, why does Kate Middleton not come across like that? You know what I'm saying? Why does Prince William? I always mix them up. Why are they not seen like Prince Charles? Why are they not seen like that? It's only when it's Meghan that it's seen as an issue. And the fact that nobody sees that, for me, that's what gives me the biggest frustration. It gives me so much frustration because people don't get it. And they but
it's hard because it's like, even there was a situation I had recently, and I'm not going to go too detailed into it, but like a lot of awful things were said. But one of the things he said to me before the worst thing was said was, it's really hard as a white person because you can try your hardest to be an ally, and it seems like you're doing everything wrong. And I'm just sat there like,
yeah, turn off this thing. I'm tired.
Literally, I was like, but do you realize this is an environment we've been like put into? Like, no one's asked for this. And this is before he said something else that was crazy. So it's like these people, and
they're clueless. That's cluelessness. That's clueless.
No, it's not clueless.
But imagine actually saying, but it's also hard as a white guy.
Yeah.
Imagine saying that.
What pisses me off here is like, I'm not going to say I get where he's coming from, but like, so me as a man, for example, like when you see those like not all men and all those things about men and their privilege, the first thing you think, just because of the way society is not an excuse. You're thinking defensive, like, oh no, I don't do that. No fucking way I do that. But you need to take a step back. If you don't do that shit and you're hearing this shit, I swear to you, it should not affect you. You should be like, oh, I get it. I totally agree. Because it doesn't have anything to do with me. Because same way, when women are talking about men that sexually harass, abuse, rape, they're saying all men do this. I go, yeah, they're not talking about me because I don't do that. And I support what they're saying. And a lot of
because
people,
at the end of the day, if 95% of women have been sexually harassed, 95%, there isn't nobody doing it. There is nobody doing it.
No, Jess, we've seen it. You've been out raving. Now, I'm not going to ask you anything personal, but you've been out raving. You know, man have harassed you. Like,
whether it's a bum grab, a boob grab, whether it's you ask for someone asks for your number, and the minute you don't give it to them, I've had a friend be spat in her face because she didn't give a number out.
Like, and the only way men stop is when you say, I've got a man. Oh, you're property of another man. Okay, then I'll stop harassing you now.
But even then, not all of them stop. Yeah, even then, sometimes it's like, oh, we can be friends. As if all women are like treacherous. Like, it makes me...
No,
but yeah.
That's what I said, though. I'm seeing any you man in the nightclubs, you know who you are. If I see it, you're getting punched in the face.
But then I would say on the flip side of that, I feel like men, where I think the conversation has been derailed is that there is still toxic masculinity affects men too. It affects men in the sense of men who have been abused sexually. Most of you probably have friends who have been sexually abused by somebody as a kid. And I bet you don't know who it is. And it's like, even with the case of Richard, like, he's a young black boy. He's only 14 years old. And it's like, if that was a girl, okay, if it was a white person, we all know what would have happened. But even if it was a girl, like, I think the concern from the police to at least the mother, regardless of the public view, I think at least the conversation between the mother and the police would have been better, because it's like, oh no, your daughter's gone missing. She must be in trouble. Whereas it's a young black boy who's gone missing, so he must be okay. He's like, he's a boy. He can handle himself. He's out and about. He must have gone somewhere. It's like, this is still a child.
It's sad.
who's missing.
But then again, you forget as well, like, how old was Richard again?
14?
19.
19.
Oh, he's
But
19. I thought he was 14, sorry.
But with
older.
but even with like that Richard situation, like kind of what kind of touched me was like seeing a mum's pain. You know what I'm saying? Like for me, one thing I always connect with is like seeing a black woman, like a mum, like whenever they go through it, just because of my own, you know what I'm saying? Because of my own mum, like you connect on that level, and the fact that like her support came from social media, did not come from the police. Her support came from Twitter, came from fucking Instagram. Like that's so wrong. And what frustrates me is like the trauma that a lot of black people go through on a day-to-day basis. It's because we see stuff like that. When you see something like that, it devalues you, whether you know it or not. You think I'm not as valuable as a white person. I'm not. Because at the end of the day, if I go missing, nothing's going to go on. But if Madeline McCann goes missing, 11 mil we're going to spend, we're going to find out what I want.
It's true.
If I like, I'm like, is that if I go missing tomorrow, I swear to you, like the feds will just,
well, how long was Sarah Everard missing for before they put on the manhunt? Do you know?
They were not fucking around.
It was within hours. It was within hours.
Yeah, within hours.
So she's gone missing, but Richard, we are begging you to fucking go look for them.
But you know, I think it goes back to, it's kind of like on the same side of like how black women are seen as like aggressive, assertive. On the other side, black men are seen as we're strong, we're overtly highly masculine. We can handle ourselves, innit?
We're seen as aggressive as well. I think I think black women are probably seen more as, you know, I've got a hot take here. It's cool. See, black women are the greatest because that's why they receive the most heat. Like they're the bottom of the food chain. And when I say food chain, I mean in
no, but way. I wasn't clicking that bit. I was clicking they're the greatest because they get the most heat.
Yeah. We get so like as a man myself, I have certain privileges. You know what I'm saying? I'm still a black man, but I have certain privileges. As a black woman, like they're so demonized, like it's so fucked. And that's just because I believe the black women are the greatest and they are the bestest. But in terms of like with Richard, just seeing how they just didn't give a fuck. For me,
yeah, it's horrible. And I think that's where toxic masculinity and race go hand in hand. And I think it's the culmination of all these preconceived notions we've all had of each other once upon a time. Even if you look at, you know, the difference between the way that ISIS is looked at versus the, you know, white nationalists, like white extremists. I think there is a status quo, which is the white, cis, straight man. And then anybody who's slightly outside of that, whether it's the white man who marries a black woman, or whether it's the black woman, or whether it's the Chinese man, or whether anything outside the white cis man is seen as less than, because it's that one drop rule. The minute you're one drop impure, you're impure.
Exactly.
And that's what needs to change really, really
quickly.
Like,
even with you, like you're a mixed race person, but in the eyes of bare people, you're just a black person. And that kind of negates half of your culture. That negates half
always.
Of you as a
and
person.
It was something I struggled with a lot because I grew up, I was from my mum's side. My mum is first generation. Well, I'm technically first generation because my mum came from Nigeria, but we were the first out of our grandparents to be born. Nigeria. But we was the first, so we was the oldest like kids in from my mum's side. And my dad's side, he had white like siblings. I had white cousins.
Are you I can't even speak. Are you the oldest?
No, I'm middle. I'm the middle, but I'm the only girl.
So you're the oldest then.
Yeah, so exactly. Yeah, even till now, my grandma once sent, this is a tangent, sent oil from Nigeria to anoint me so I can find a husband.
Yes, it's so Nigerian. Oh my God. When will you marry? When will you marry? When will you marry?
You know, Lagos, maybe Lekki Island.
Oh, I know many fine men in the church.
Do you want me to set you up? My mom's talking about arranged marriages. She's like,
I can't lie.
What do you want me to find?
I've got a hot take though. I can't lie. Like if mum, if you're watching this, if you want to arrange a marriage and she's bad, I don't mind. Innit? Like, she's dank, man.
It's true.
Yeah, she's 10 out of 10.
Complaining.
You know what I'm saying?
No, but it is that idea. Sorry, go back to the mixed race thing. It's like when I grew up around with a lot of white people. So then when I first started meeting other black kids, it was like, you're the white one, aren't you? You're really white, Jess. Like, you're so white for a mixed race person. And I'd be like,
that's exactly what happened.
Be black. Like my family saying black. And then the minute I call myself black, then I'll have other people saying, you're not black. Why are you trying to claim being black? And it's like, okay, so I'm not black. And then if I say I'm not black, it's why are you ashamed of your black side? Can't win.
But
It's
if you
tough.
think about it, even most quote unquote black people are mixed with other stuff. So no one's truly 100% one thing in general.
I am 100% Nigerian.
Well, this is the thing. My mum says because I'm Yoruba, she can trace my ancestry back to the origins of Yoruba lands.
Do you know Marco? Marco's Arma's Igbo.
Is he?
Yeah, he's hard.
Yeah,
he's mixed race.
I'm Yoruba as well.
No, you're not, Denzel. You keep lying. You're not.
I thought you was Caribbean.
Denzel.
No.
Oh my God. Oh,
People,
how are you gonna
people
guess
don't know
it?
where I'm from.
Yeah, I know. I'm gonna bait you out, Sierra Leone, you dickhead.
Sierra Leone.
Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Okay.
And I got bits of Nigerian in me, but just
No, you don't. You're
No, we
always
went
trying to
through
force
this.
it.
We went through this.
Thank
Who
you.
wants to know a fun fact? Nigeria was not a country until colonization.
God bless you. Nigeria should not be the way it is right now. It has been broke. That's why you have 3 different tribes in there. Yoruba land is the real country.
You have over 250 tribes.
Exactly. I don't know about Yoruba land, bro. See Benin, see Togo. There's more. I have more in common with people there than I do in the north of Nigeria.
It's a long watch, but there's a documentary on Netflix called The Journey of an African Tribe or Journey of an African Colony. And it talks about the formation of like Nigeria and stuff like that. Check it out if you want to. It's a bit of a long watch and there's not enough money put into it, which is why the production values are down. But Uncle tells us everything we need to know.
But come on, even to take it a step further, people don't even know about the Yoruba religion and about
I
know about
that religion. I know about that religion.
I'm saying people in general, though. Like,
yeah, of course.
Like,
of course.
I was even saying in schools, like, obviously it might be a bit spooky to certain people, but I think they should teach it. I mean, you teach Buddhism, you teach
Hinduism. But you know what it is, though? But then again, black culture, this even links into this, it's been so demonized. Like, so for example, black magic, yeah. Why black magic is seen as evil, wrong, bad magic, yeah? Like it's evil. Oh, black magic, juju. But Merlin and all them man there that do normal magic, even David Blaine, oh yeah, that's just calm magic. But if a man's doing something,
they call that white magic, you know. That's what it is.
No, genuinely. No,
Harry Potter as well. Harry Potter.
Oh yeah, shout Armor with the Harry Potter remix. So
wow.
Plugged man. But it's the truth though. Like it's actually just like that, and it's like.
I feel like African mythology is so interesting when you actually start looking at it. Like we study Greek mythology, we can learn about African mythology. Like we have goddesses. What I love about Nigerian Yoruba mythology as well is that the goddesses are super powerful. Some of the most powerful deity are women.
Even like Tutankhamun and them, man. You think them man are white? I want to burst your bubble. All Egyptians from back in the day were black as fuck, dark.
Sure.
So all that shit you see on
they
school.
were black. But there were so many cultures that we didn't know about. But I was even looking at like Timbuktu, like the original the original mother of Ghana. Like I've been recently looking at like all these powerful warriors and warriors. Like there are some crazy stories that are out there to be made.
And funny thing is, yeah, like it may seem like we're going on a tangent, but all the stuff we're talking about is uplifting things that you can be telling and teaching black kids when they're growing up. But we don't learn that shit. All we learn in school is about slavery and Martin Luther King. And like, with all due respect, I think it's important to learn that. How does that apply to me in the UK? It doesn't. It literally does not apply to me. It's literally, just, oh yeah, well, there's some black history. You were slaves before, so be lucky that where you are now. And all those things you're taught from a young age. Like me, I was the only black kid in my primary school. And then go to like a secondary school with predominantly white people. When all you're taught St. Edwards, big up Steds. But like, if all those people that you're, like, how can I say, if all those people, all those things you learn are negative about yourself, you start to have a bad perception of your blackness. And then slowly after time, and then you see on the news, black stabbings, black this, black that, nothing positive. That's where the trauma will start to embed itself. And I think first thing we need to do, we need to start teaching the young ones about actual black history, like interesting black history, uplifting black history. Like the richest man was black,
a black
like back in the day. A black man, rich, like stinking rich. You think Jeff Bezos is rich? You don't know about my man.
And his mum was a warrior queen.
Yeah.
The fucked up thing is as well, they don't teach you in history in schools that most of the ornaments that they teach you about in schools were actually stolen from black people.
Yeah. Big up, what's his name? In Black Panther, what's his guy's name? Monk? Has everyone watched Mark
Wahlberg?
No.
Oh, you're talking about the character that Michael B. Jordan.
Michael B. Jordan. You know who that is because you fancy him as well, like every other woman. So yeah. You know who he is. So yeah, he said that scene. He said that scene when he went to the guy. He was like, "Oh, how much for this artifact, and the guy's like, it's not for sale. He's like, was it for sale when you stole it from our land? And that's the facts. All these
Bro.
black and African artifacts, bro. And what are they doing in an English fucking night?
So going back to my Jewish friend who like I spoke to after the whole thing happened, like she had these 2 pieces of African art that had been passed down to her from her grandparents, passed down to their grandparents. And one day she came to me, they had passed away and they passed them down to her. And she said, look, Jess, I've got these 2 pieces of art. I don't feel right giving them away because they were never mine. I don't feel right selling them, and I don't feel right keeping them. You're the only friend that I know from Africa. Like, do you want them? I was like, yes, please. They're like over 100 and something years old. And just even the fact that she had that foresight to be like, Jess, like, I realized that this was never meant to be mine, just made me feel like that's why I will always listen to every single thing she says, because I'm like, you get it.
That's all we want. That's it. Just consideration. We don't want you to go outside and, you know what I'm saying, just want consideration. Look, Jess, she went to you. She was like, look, I don't feel comfortable with this. What do you want me to do? You told her.
Exactly.
Open dialogue. That's all we want. We're not asking for a lot. It's not fucking hard. Bro, I'm sorry. Like, if you're still not getting in the next 2 years, you're racist in my head. I'm sorry.
That's true.
You're just racist.
Yeah,
like, Marco, I'm trying to teach you. Marco, I'm trying to get you, bro.
I'm okay, bro.
You getting it?
I'm getting it, yeah.
Yeah, Marco's good.
Bro, I did more than
leave my Igbo husband.
Bro, I did more than just post a black square.
Grandma's gonna be happy now. Grandma.
No, what I'm saying is, at least I did more than just post a black square last year.
No, you didn't. That's literally all you did, bro. I saw you. You just posted a black square.
He posted 2 black squares. Thank you very much.
Okay, sorry. Defending your husband, I see.
Yeah, Igbo, listen. Igbo, you're about coming back together.
Look at you, bro. I hate Marco so much, bro.
I'm gonna start making remixes for you. I swear to God.
Oh, do it then. I'll see you outside, big man. I'll see you outside.
We're on Zoom, bro.
Yeah, no. Kind of to obviously we're coming to the end, kind of to wrap up.
Sick episode.
You know, sick. I kind of took this from half cast, but yeah, like from everyone, just like obviously it can be on this issue or just in general, like one thing people should look up, like just to kind of just inform themselves or inspire them.
Come to me last.
Yeah, I'll start with it, and I'll say, if you're not even if you're African, just in general, I read this while I was at just after uni. So yeah, like it's called How Europe Undeveloped Africa, and it's by Walter Rodney. And why I like it is because it speaks about like the history of Africa before slavery and all of that. And I think that a lot of people just don't know about it. So I just think, in general, just like if you're a person that wants to be informed, you should definitely read it in it, because you'll learn that Africa had so many, as you said, kings, queens, empires, art, music, food, all of that. And like, there's definitely there's a lot more than what's being shown on the media.
I'll say I've got 2 actually. First one is read a book called Why I Am No Longer Explaining Racism to White
Race
People.
to white people, you stole mine.
Sorry. So if you're white and you don't get it, it's fine. Read that book, and you get it. Second thing as well, read up on a guy called Thomas Sankara. So he was a revolutionary in I can't remember what country it was, but yeah, he was basically the best ever president to come out of Africa. Like he changed everything.
I've heard about him.
I only read about him about 2 months ago. I say read, but I watched some things about him, and kind of like seeing what he did kind of really instilled a lot of like strength for myself. So yeah, read up about him. You'd be surprised how many great leaders came out of Africa before they got assassinated. So read on those 2 things. Sorry for stealing your thing.
That's okay. I've got others. I would say that I would some people that I find really inspirational are like, oh sorry, someone's coming through the door.
It's cool. They can make a quick
No, we're being professional. How? No, this is professional. It's not professional. I'm joking. Sorry.
I mean, sorry. So yeah, Fela Kuti is one of like the best musicians to ever come out of Nigeria, Africa. I think the world. If you research him, he's just a polarizing character who shows you the power of one person and the power of music, and how that music can be political and how you can make music political. And also just say, look up the Orishas of Yoruba mythology, which are the goddesses of Yoruba mythology. And you'll see like Beyonce has modeled herself over after, I think it was Odun is one of the goddesses, which is the goddess of fertility. She wears yellow. She's like beautiful. But if you look at the Orishas, you realize how much rich culture, and like they could all be Disney princesses, honestly.
Facts. Big up, Jess.